Ciao Fabri, welcome back in our podcast.
Ciao guys.
Today we speak about free agents in 2026. Will be an important summer also with the World Cup taking place. So we decided to divide this episode in two parts. Today we're going to speak about some free agents and then the next one also about other free agents because there are too many basically. So let's start with Marc Guehi because he was one of the big names also of last summer. Busy days in the last days of the transfer window. So what's going to happen in 2026 with him?
It's going to be a big battle, a big battle for Marc Guehi. A massive one involving several clubs because obviously Liverpool basically signed Marc Guehi on deadline day. Everything was done, including the medical test, and then the deal collapsed in the final minutes of the summer transfer window because Igor didn't join Crystal Palace anymore and decided for a different move to West Ham. So that's why Marc Guehi didn't end up at Liverpool, but Liverpool will be there for 2026. More English clubs are interested in the player. He's always been on the list of several clubs, including, for example, Newcastle and not only. But from what I'm hearing, also Italian top clubs, Spanish top clubs have started calling to understand the situation of Marc Guehi. And then there's been some call also from Bayern. They are another club in the market for an important centre-back in 2026. And Marc Guehi is basically on the list of all these top clubs interested in an excellent player like him, very professional, very serious, because despite what happened on deadline day, Marc Guehi restarted performing in fantastic way for Crystal Palace as a proper captain, as a top player, as a top professional, not creating any sort of problem. If Crystal Palace had this fantastic start of the season, it's not just obviously the excellent work of the coach Oliver Glasner and all people at the club and all the players, but also the leadership of Marc Guehi, and so they are on the same page on this. But Marc Guehi will not sign a new contract, will be 100% a free agent in 2026, and so the big battle has started. It will take some time before we understand who's going to win this race, but for Guehi it's going to be a crazy year for sure.
Knowing what happened in the last days of the transfer market, especially on that day, as you mentioned already, does Liverpool already have a pre-agreement with the player and these agents looking ahead in 2026 or not?
There are many reports about this, and many people maybe wondering if it's already everything agreed between Marc Guehi and Liverpool just because he agreed the deal in summer 2025, so a few weeks ago. But from what I'm hearing, no, it's not something already decided or pre-agreed between Liverpool and Marc Guehi. If you want to sign the player on a free, it's completely different than signing the player by paying a transfer fee to Crystal Palace. You need to renegotiate the terms. Of course, Marc Guehi remains very keen on Liverpool, and Liverpool remain very keen on Marc Guehi. Otherwise, they were not at that stage of the deal in the last days of the summer transfer window. But at the same time, it's not something already pre-agreed. It's not something signed. It's not something guaranteed. If the question is Liverpool will be there for 2026 on a free, for sure. If the question is already agreed and done for 2026, at this stage, not yet. Marc Guehi also has different opportunities, and so we have to follow the situation and see what happens.
Talking about Liverpool and another free agent, Ibrahima Konate, a name that we already mentioned many times here on the podcast with Men in Blazers. What's going to happen with him in 2026?
It's another interesting situation because for Konate, Liverpool are still in conversation with his agents. It's been a special case because Konate, 1 year ago, basically October 2024, was on the verge of signing a new contract at Liverpool. Then there have been some problems, some issues in the structure of this new deal, and so the negotiation got delayed, and now the agreement is not done or close, but it's still in conversation between Konate and Liverpool, so they are still talking, they are still discussing. It's not something agreed, and it means that several clubs can be interested in the situation of Konate. Clubs around Europe, including Real Madrid. Real Madrid were following the case of William Saliba, but he decided to sign a new deal at Arsenal, and so now for Real Madrid there are other options in the list. Konate is one of them, but it's not something done with Real Madrid. It's too early to say what's going to happen with Madrid, and so Liverpool are still in conversation with the player to try extend the contract. In case it doesn't happen, let's get ready because it's going to be another big battle. Real Madrid will be there and not only, so I think Konate is going to be another big name to follow in the next weeks.
Talking about big names and center backs and defenders, Upamecano, his situation, what's going to happen with him in the future, starting from the summer 2026.
Yeah, it's another special case because for Upamecano the deal was almost agreed also in this case. For Konate and Liverpool was October 2024. For Upamecano and Bayern was very close at the end of March this year. So they had a very positive conversation. Then some details to clarify and never clarified between Upamecano and Bayern made the negotiations slow down. Now what happens is that, you know, when there is a big name like Upamecano having a fantastic time at Bayern, he's doing very well, he's a crucial player for company, well, it's normal to have other clubs calling and trying to to tempt the player. So there is interest from several clubs, from France, including Paris Saint-Germain, from Spain, top clubs. So for sure for Upamecano there is a lot of attention, including from Premier League. So it's another special case to follow, because Bayern are pushing to extend his contract. There will be a new meeting with his agents very soon to try to insist, close this chapter and get a new deal done. So Bayern are insisting, are pushing. But when you get into this moment, October, November, and the expiry of the contract is getting closer, what happens is that you don't have to negotiate only for the new contract, but also for the signing fee. The signing fee is an important part of the conversation, because other clubs can offer an important salary and an important signing fee to sign the player on a free. And so this is why for Upamecano is another open case, but Bayern are pushing a lot. New meeting will take place, and we will see if they will be able to get a new deal done.
Moving back to the Premier League, 2025 was the year of Kevin De Bruyne leaving Manchester City. Will 2026 be the year of Bernardo Silva, another big name of City, leaving the club, or not?
It's a serious possibility. It's a serious possibility to see Bernardo Silva leaving Manchester City in 2026. We have to obviously respect Bernardo, respect Man City, because nothing has been agreed or decided or communicated yet. And so we have to keep it open. We know when there are free agents or players out of contract, everything can be decided in 5 minutes, because you don't have a direct negotiation club to club. And that's what makes the deal slow sometimes. In this case, everything can be very fast. And so let's respect their timing. But my understanding is that Bernardo Silva has concrete chances to leave Manchester City on a free transfer in 2026. He always had several possibilities. If you remember, in the last 2-3 years, there were opportunities to go to Paris Saint-Germain, to Barcelona, always been very interested in Bernardo. Then also from Saudi, Bernardo received important proposals. So I'm sure he will have plenty of options in case he decides to leave Manchester City, but that's a concrete possibility. At the moment, there are no negotiations advanced or active to extend his contract, and so I think there is an opportunity to see Bernardo leaving on a free.
You already mentioned Barcelona. What about the contract of Frenkie de Jong, another midfielder, another key player for Barcelona?
In the case of Frenkie de Jong, I would be more than optimistic. The new deal is verbally agreed, so it's not official yet while we are recording this podcast, because Frenkie changed his agents recently, and so this is what changed some part of the discussions with Barcelona, but never changed the intention of Barcelona and of Frenkie de Jong. I think we can exclude Frenkie de Jong from this list of players eventually leaving on a free in 2026, because his new deal till 2029, so new 4-year contract for Frenkie at Barcelona, will be signed very soon. Everything is almost agreed, and let me say that even when we had all these rumors on Frenkie de Jong and Manchester United, when Erik ten Hag was the manager, also on Bayern a few years before, Frenkie always wanted to stay at Barcelona. He loves Barca, he loves the city, he loves now also the new coach, Hansi Flick. The connection is very good. Also with his teammates, he has an excellent relationship. So Frenkie never had an intention to leave the club. Now the new deal is almost done, almost set to be signed, and so it's just a matter of time, and Frenkie de Jong will be an important part of Barcelona project.
Do you expect Eric Garcia to have the same future of Frenkie de Jong or not?
Yes, also Eric is another player who is on the verge of signing a new deal at Barcelona, so I don't think Eric will leave on a free. Also because Barca, I can reveal to you, in the January transfer window 2025, so a few months ago, they rejected an important proposal to sell Eric Garcia on a permanent transfer to Como. That was a concrete possibility. Then Eric Garcia decided to stay. Hansi Flick more than happy with that, because Eric is a player they can really trust in several positions. Sometimes as a midfielder, as a centre back, of course, as a right back when needed, and Koundé maybe is not fit or is not available to play. So Eric is a really important player for Hansi Flick, and is going to be an important part of the project. So also Eric Garcia will sign a new deal at Barcelona.
So 2026 will be an important year for the United States, our friends here, Men in Blazers as well, because there is the World Cup, of course, the big event that will take place in the United States, and Weston McKenzie is one of the stars of the team, but he's also have a contract with Juventus due in the summer 2026. So what's going to happen with him and his future?
I would keep an eye on Weston McKenzie, to be honest. I think there is also in this case a concrete chance to see Weston leaving Juventus on a free transfer. I would not guarantee that, because it already happened in the recent years that Weston McKenzie was on the verge of leaving Juventus. If you remember, when they signed Douglas Luiz in summer 2024, Weston McKenzie was about to be included in the deal with Aston Villa, then it collapsed on player side, but several times Weston McKenzie was on the verge of leaving Juventus, and then he ended up staying. So let's keep the doors open to any solution, because it's still October, it's still early. but as of today, the conversation on new deal are still not advancing, are still not getting closer, and so I think there is a chance to see Weston leaving Juventus to try a new chapter, maybe in a different league. So for sure, for Weston McKenzie, there will be plenty of opportunities. As you mentioned, it's a World Cup season, so we'll keep several opportunities for him, also being an important representative of the United States men's national team. So let's follow that situation. But for sure, Weston McKenzie at the moment is still not close to extending his contract at Juventus, and I think could be an interesting opportunity for several clubs.
Another name for today, the last one that will be back also in another episode talking just about free agents, because there are too many as we mentioned before. Paolo Dybala, one of the big stars of Roma, also some injuries that affected his performance at Roma, but also performing well. What's going to happen with him in the next summer?
Yeah, out of contract, Paolo Dybala, but with the intention, from what I'm hearing on sources, from sources close to Dybala and close to Roma, intention on both sides, club and player, to meet as soon as possible and start negotiation over a new long-term deal. So Dybala is very happy at Roma. He's a crucial player for Roma. It's not just about the pitch, also off the pitch. He's a really important leader in the dressing room, and Roma are more than happy with Dybala. Dybala is very happy there, so they will discuss very soon. At the moment, it's not something agreed, it's not something close, it's still early stages, but the intention on both sides is to meet and to try to negotiate a new deal. So I think there is a very good chance to see Paolo Dybala at least negotiating a new deal with Roma. Then we will see how it goes, but at the moment, no talks with different clubs because the focus remains on Roma.
Thank you, Fabri, for today. We'll be back soon here on Men in Blazers. Bye.
Thank you. See you soon. Ciao.